Football Friday, and we are here to talk Pro Bowl, dodgeball, and everything else. Oh, no, I'm just kidding about that. This is great. We do not have to care about Pro Bowl weekend here in Philadelphia this week because this little game, the Super Bowl. We're talking with Bryan Cameron. Trending in the AM starts in 30 seconds.
Holding, gets around in front. And Philadelphia has it.
And a very good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow on all social media platforms. But do me that favor. Head over to the DSM Media YouTube page. Hit the like and the subscribe button. It's also the best place to get interactive with the show. Drop your comments, thoughts, questions, especially for our guest here the first half of the show. My man, Bryan Cameron, Flippin the Birds podcast, managing Eagles editor over at Philadelphia Sports Network. Bryan, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. You know I love talking birds in the morning with you, so I'm excited to be here. A little bit of a brain fart moment. I did not know that DSM stood for Do Something Major, which I think adds so much more to your team.
I wasn't one of the original founding three at DSM Media, but just that. I mean, there's something about Do Something Major that just it struck. I knew Dylan and Scotty, two of the founding members, for a while, and then when they said they got this and this is what it's called, I'm like, yo, put me on that network, man. That is great logo, great. I love those kind of cliche sayings like that. Aim higher, set the trends, things like that, and
it just means more. Like it just adds more. Like
yeah, absolutely. Instead of Philadelphia Sports Network, what's that? That's just such a come on now.
I don't know. I mean, if you meet our CEO, he's definitely doing something major over there on that side.
Well, see, I think I've had some big. We're saving the best. You're the cleanup hitter here. I had Liam on earlier. I had Ed Kratz. I had who did I have yesterday? Sean Brace yesterday. Now Bryan Cameron hitting in the cleanup spot. So
I appreciate that.
The best for last this week.
I definitely appreciate that. And if you had Liam on, then that's a major grab because I work with Liam and I have not had him on all season on Flipping the Birds, which I'm pretty sure he's going to stumble upon this. But we do have a special coming up where we are going to have Liam. I did get to nab him and I, little threading messages. But yeah, he's coming on Flipping the Birds.
All right. Well, let's talk about Flipping the Birds because this whole week it's all been Eagles, not the Pro Bowl. First and foremost, it feels great to not have to talk about the Pro Bowl today because
doesn't it?
It's a pointless weekend anyway, and the Eagles aren't in it. So it's great to not have to worry about the Pro Bowl whatsoever.
It's amazing, and it's so weird because it doesn't feel like the Super Bowl. It feels kind of like hey, like the season's still going for us, and that's the standard that they created for us, the vision that they gave the fan base, and it's just amazing to hear that hey. Giants are sitting out. Julian Love has no love for the Eagles. Then you have, the Cowboys. You had the 49ers all sitting out. It's kind of like, yeah, like we're the last one standing on the damn mountain after being doubted.
And it's kind of that, you had Zach Pascal on Flipping the Birds. Was it yesterday or 2 days? I saw it yesterday. I don't know if it dropped a few days before that.
Oh, no, yeah, it was last night.
Was it last night? Okay, so I was watching it late last night before I went to bed. And, it doesn't feel like the Super Bowl is a perfect way to phrase the first thing I took from that whole 20-minute interview with Zach Pascal last night was how relaxed he is. You listen to the players, Jalen Hurts this week so far when he's spoken to the media. Everyone just seems so relaxed. The whole business as usual mantra is really coming through so far this week with the Eagles players.
It definitely is. And we spoke to him before the podcast because I just had a couple questions. And he was telling me, I'm like, how's practice? Like, how's everything going through? He's like, listen, it's still intense. Nothing's changed. Like, we're still doing everything we got to do just to prepare to fly to Arizona. And it's phenomenal. That's the culture. And that just breeds Philadelphia. Like, Philadelphia's a hardworking city, a hardworking fan base. Like, everybody's just, we're grit to the grind. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles are this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it starts with, Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, the players are super relaxed. You see the fiery Nick Sirianni and all the videos we've seen of him lately. We see the Jonathan Gannon, we're gonna freaking gut these guys video from the other day.
Is that what he said? I couldn't make out what he said.
He says, well, he didn't use the word freaking. He used a different word, but but he basically said we're gonna gut these guys. you get the intensity and the excitement and over the top of the coaches, and maybe that translates to help get the players to relax a little bit. That the coaches aren't on edge, so we don't have to be on edge, and we can relax because they're going to take the bullet for us if we fail.
Yeah, it's a huge dynamic. I mean, when we covered the Saints game, and just being in the locker room, just being in around Sirianni and them, it's different. Like every game means so much to them. I mean, I remember being in the locker room and you saw Jalen, who we all know he wanted to play, right? That was
Right.
a chance for him to clinch the division, clinch the NFC number one seed, and Jalen's just in his locker and he's pissed off. Like, you get me? Like they were all pissed off, but not pointing fingers per se. Like, there was accountability where it's like, I messed up my part, this person messed up their part, and it's weird. Like, I was talking about this on Flipping the Birds. Like, it's a weird dynamic because, like, from the fan base, like, you're emotionally invested in this team now. This isn't like 2017 where it was kind of like, hey, like, lightning in the bottle. Nick Foles comes in and just leads the charge. No, like, you're emotionally invested in this team from the cornerback to the quarterback to the defensive end to the coach to even the assistant coaches. Like, it just feels like it's all one unit, and that's something that Nick Sirianni alone has created. And it's trickled down to Jalen. It's trickled down to Miles, to Dallas. Like, it's good. I don't know. It's a breath of fresh air per se.
It's interesting because I always talk about on this show expectations changing.
Mhm.
With all the sports teams and stuff like that. And, you might have a preseason expectation of a team, but it changes constantly. And the 2017 team, I kind of went into that Super Bowl like, hey, if they fail and they lose the Super Bowl, whatever. I mean, you have the whole Nick Foles situation happening, all the different behind the scenes going on with that team. This team, hey, I mean, I don't think they're going to fail. We're very positive, but the expectations that they've set and their relaxed, feeling and the vibes coming from this team is that they're confident. There's an expectation to win, and I'm not trying to say that they're going to be really hard on themselves if they lose. They will, but it's not like they're going to be, I don't know what the right word for it is, but their expectation is that they are going to win the Super Bowl, 8-9 days from now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that speaks huge to it's again to Nick Sirianni and company. And it starts with the quarterback, right? Jalen, since day one, has been no rat poison to the media, business as usual. He, apparently, I don't know if you saw the clip where he mentioned, like, last year he called Devontae Smith after Super Bowl saying, "Hey, we're gonna be there," and then this year he went with Devontae like, "Hey, I told you we're gonna be here. We're here," and it's just like they're manifesting their destiny, right? They're speaking it into existence. They've done that since week one. Like, this is nothing new to them, but this is new to us because we didn't expect. We expect them to be a good team, right? It was a great roster. Expect them to make a run, but America's sweetheart was the 49ers, right? America's team was the Cowboys. America's rejects were the Philadelphia Eagles. And to everybody's distaste, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and they're there because of the work that they put in. They're there because of the culture that they created. And it's just, like I said, it's a breath of fresh air. And Nick Sirianni, I mean, forget what Julian Love said. Like, you could be bitter from the couch. Yeah, like, dude, why would you say that? One, your head coach is Sirianni's mentor and good friend. Like, why would you make an ass out of yourself, especially after the way you played against the Eagles? But anyways, Sirianni has been such a huge impact on this organization as a whole. Like, the Eagles wanted to get younger with their coaching staff. They got younger. They got all these guys who are passionate about the game. It's not about just analytics and just like looking at the game. No, like they want to be a part of the game. You see Sirianni just jumping into the field, celebrating with the players when they score. It's just it's a new norm in Philadelphia, and it's actually a new norm.
I think that's a fair way to say it. And how do I say this question here? I kind of just lost my whole brain went completely blank here, like totally and completely. Oh, these guys, the coaches, the players, the new norm. Every single person, we always talk about they're a Philadelphia guy. They get Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Like, there's every single person on this team, from the coaches to the players to probably the equipment guys in the locker room. They get Philadelphia, and they're what you would consider the Philadelphia blue collar. They understand the people of Philadelphia. Someone like Jonathan Gannon that's been crushed in the city, and I did a whole episode on unjustly criticized people in the last 20 years in Philadelphia sports. And Jonathan Gannon was one of the top guys that we have, including myself, unjustly criticized.
Yeah.
And then you see that video of him, rolling up to the game saying we're going to gut these guys, that's getting Philadelphia. Now there's not one person in the city that doesn't want to go to war with Jonathan Gannon just because of that one comment. They get Philadelphia, and I think that's really key to their relationship and the connection that the fan base is having with this team.
And I think that's a huge difference from Doug and Nick, right? Like Doug understood the city because he played here and he coached here. You know, I get it. But Nick, it feels like Nick came to the city and he just threw himself into the streets. He walked throughout the city. He understood the culture. He studied the culture. He studied the people, and made this team reflect what the city is. And that's, now you have Jonathan Gannon after the game saying, "Hey, yeah, I'm not going nowhere. Philly's not going to let me leave, so I'm not going nowhere." Like that's huge. Like this is possibility. Like I hate using the word dynasty. And it's used on Flipping the Birds a bit, but it's a possible it's an entry point, right, to what can be for the next 3 to 4 years, the next 3 to 5 years. You have a young squad. You have people that could actually just interchange with draft picks this and the third. It's nothing like 2017, and you have a coaching staff that may still remain the same depending on Shane Steichen's interview with the coach. It may be the same next season. Like that's huge. Imagine 3 seasons in a row where Jalen Hurts has the same offensive staff. 3 seasons in a row where the defensive staff is exactly the same. Like it's just they've embodied Philadelphia. Like these are the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. Like you actually say like that. Like,
there's a swagger. There's there's so much to it about this team. Something that stuck out when you're talking about Sirianni and everything there. When you ask Zach Pascal this question, I think it's a really, really important topic to talk about. I mean, when Nick Sirianni came here to Philadelphia, I don't even care about the bad opening press conference. I'm so past that. I even said it the day that press conference happened. I'm like, yo, guys, relax. It's not that big of a deal.
yeah.
But let's be honest. Him, Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, Bryan Johnson, the quarterback coach, everyone across the defensive line coach. There's a lot of young, inexperienced coaches. And you asked, Zach Pascal yesterday on that interview, about how quickly he's gone from being a no-name head coach to one of the best coaches in football. That swagger about him, but also just his overall success so quickly. I can't in my mind, come up with a coach in recent memory that had that quick of a ascension to success and when there's a lot of question marks on him.
Yeah, now that you think about it, I mean, I don't think anybody really has. I mean, let's be honest, nobody wanted Sirianni. Nobody knew about Sirianni when he got interviewed. But then the moment he's hired, like, we were all panicking about Josh McDaniels being interviewed. Like, oh God, Sirianni comes.
I was on this show panicking. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why? I said Brian Daboll and McDaniel. I'm like, why aren't those two guys coaching in Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's wild to think about. Like, it's a no-name guy. They got him off the Frank Wright tree. He comes here, and it's just, you know what it is? Like, how can I explain this? All right, so when you start a new job, right? For example, like you start a new job, you join this team with culture, and then you start doing well, right? You start doing well, and then your success trickles down. And it seems like that's what happened with Sirianni. He came in, and he was doing so well within the building that the team just embraced it so much that it started seeping out of the building. It started overflowing with the Sirianni disease, the infection, and it's trickled down from the top to the bottom to the practice squad players. Yeah. Like everybody knows their job, everybody knows their role, and everybody's willing to do their role. And I think that's the huge thing that I got from Zach yesterday was that it doesn't matter like what you do, your stats. It doesn't matter, how many receptions you get, how many touchdowns you get. What matters is that you guys do your job, you do it to the best of your ability, and that defines the Philadelphia Eagles this season.
I think he mentioned it, or you mentioned it about him. When he first signed here, Zach Pascal, it was before A.J. Brown came here. When he signed in Philly, he probably thought he was going to have a much bigger role in this offense and team than he did. But yet the culture and everything that Sirianni set, Zach Pascal knew, all right, well, I'm just going to be a blocking. I'm going to take pride in my blocking. Whatever way I get on the field, special teams, as that third blocking wide receiver, whatever, I'm going to put 110% into it so that I'm helping this team win. And the ultimate goal of this team, we're all bought in. And I thought that was really interesting and something that, that aspect of it, like just someone like Zach Pascal himself, his role changed so quickly on draft night with this team. And some people, there's plenty of NFL players out there that would have been pissed off, that would have, held a grudge, wouldn't have put their best foot forward, demanded a trade or cut me if I'm not going to be a starting wide receiver on this team.
Mhm.
And Zach Pascal bought in, and I think that's a great example of what this team is, a real team. And they're all there together. All 53 men are all there with one singular goal.
Yeah, and I mean, can you imagine how difficult it is to handle 53 plus egos on a team and actually have them all thinking exactly the same? Like, there's not one leak on this team. You never see one player just doing the Alshon anonymous crap. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody sees that. You haven't heard a peep out of this team. Like, it's just it's it's masterful. It's a masterpiece at the end of the day. Like, you get me? Like,
When you think about it, you're saying it's a masterpiece of 53 egos, but there's a lot of young egos and a lot of veteran. There's not many
yes,
guys in the middle. You've got guys that have been here, done it before, won Super Bowls. They're in check. And then you got a bunch of young kids, and they're in check.
yeah.
Everybody has fallen in line there.
And it's crazy. I mean, you have Ndamukong Suh on the team, and you haven't heard anything bad about this guy.
No.
Nothing. Like, it's wild. I mean, from the Kayvon Wallace's to even AJ Brown. Like, we saw the AJ Brown spat. I feel like that was more so towards an injury because of the way he was limping off that play. But like, even after that, like, he's like, no, don't make a big deal about this. It's not a big deal. Like, leave it alone. Like, they know what it is. Leave it at that. And it's just wild, man. Like, and like I said, after that Saints game, when I went to the locker room, just seeing Jalen was tucked into his locker, looking in his phone, and you saw the anger, right? You saw that, but you didn't see anybody lashing out on anybody. You didn't see nobody pointing fingers at Gardner, nobody pointing fingers at the defensive at the defense, at Jonathan Gannon. It was just like, guys, okay, we screwed up. Let's get the next one.
Yeah, it's perfect. We talk about relatability and stuff, and I saw something literally 5 minutes before we went live on Twitter, and it got me thinking. Backtrack to the Phillies, and before they went on their run, the Phillies team was unrelatable because everyone talked about there's no homegrown talent. You look at this Eagles team, especially on offense. For everybody that's bashed Howie Roseman, 10 of the 11 starters on offense were drafted, here in Philadelphia. So these guys have been the old timers. They've been here for a long time, and the newer guys. These are guys we're watching grow. Jalen Hurts in his third year here, every year taking a step. I mean, this is the epitome of a homegrown team, just tweaked in free agency, and you kind of get more relatable to the players when you watch them from day one as a rookie through to this progress of now playing in another Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, you're talking about like TJ Edwards. You're talking about a guy who was an undrafted free agent and now is a starter on the defense and making his name for himself. Marcus Epps, another guy. They've got him off the practice squad in Minnesota, starter on defense, and it's phenomenal. Like I said, these aren't the Eagles of 2017 where it was kind of like everybody's on an expiring contract or everybody's on an inflated contract. No, like, the Eagles are, they're not going into free agency with the wildest amount of cap space. But we do have Howie Roseman, who will restructure deals, who will make space to find a way to keep a Gardner Johnson or to keep a James Bradbury. It's different. It's a different dynamic. Like, it feels so well organized. Now, we are saying this, precursor to the future, but as of right now, it feels like smart football. Like, you trade for AJ Brown, you don't let him walk. You sign him to extension for 4 years, $100 million without an issue, and you have Devontae Smith, who's going to be here throughout that time as well. Like, it's smart football.
Yeah, I mean, Howie Roseman definitely doesn't get. Before we get back to Howie Roseman, of course, did you see the Jerry Jones comments too?
Oh,
You're
God.
just saying how we're set up for long term, but then you got somebody like Jerry Jones going out and saying, "Yeah, but if it doesn't work, they're screwed." I mean, Jerry Jones just put his foot in his mouth because he really just proved that he had no clue with the Eagles offseason and whole entire roster how it was built. I
Mhm.
mean, we talk about every bad comment that's been coming out towards Philly in the last week or two. And there's just another one right there because Howie Roseman has done a masterful job. This is not an all-in season like 2017 where who knows what's going to happen next year.
Exactly.
It was pretty much, we got some free agents, but Howie Roseman will find a way to at least lock up
Exactly.
some of these guys. And then all the draft picks we have on top of it, the guys we don't keep, we're going to be able to replace in the draft with, pretty elite guys at the top of the board.
And I think that's how you could tell Jerry Jones is out of sync with the NFL, because if you've paid attention, you know that Eagles have two first round picks. You know that they have more of a young core than they do have an older core. So they're building for the long term. I feel like Jerry Jones just took a page out of the CEO from Blockbuster's book and doesn't realize that his team's gonna go out of business soon.
They're really. I mean, I don't like talking Cowboys, but I always say because I will cover all topics until
Mhm.
Jerry Jones stops making the decisions in Dallas. Dallas is going to be a train wreck for a
Oh
really
yeah,
long.
absolutely. Yeah. As long as it's in the family, like as long as Stephen Jones is the GM, like they're not going nowhere. Honestly, they're really not. They're stuck in their ways, and that's it's sad to say, but hey, it's beneficial for us. I
It's
personally
great,
think, yeah,
great to say. I love it.
I personally think that it doesn't matter because the team that we built. I mean, we're built for the long haul, and that's something that we've been talking a lot within PSN about is that this team is really like they're really built for the long term. Like, the next 3 to 5 years, 3 to 6 years, like you have Jalen Hurts, you have Dallas Goedert, you have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith. I don't know what the situation is at running back, what it's gonna look like going forward, but you have a Kenny Gainwell if Miles Sanders isn't here, and you can draft another guy. Like
Yeah.
it's finally we're finally seeing smart football after all these years.
And that comes from something we've talked about this week and last week a lot on the show. That comes from the top with Jeffrey Lurie.
Mhm.
He gave Roseman the leash. All right, you made some mistakes. Let's see if you could fix your mistakes. And now he's got at every position. You say Miles Sanders with Kenneth Gainwell and a draft pick if he doesn't say. You got Bradbury and you got Gardner Johnson. If you lose one of them, you got 2 first-round picks that you can go out and replace one of them with. In the top 10 picks of the draft, you can go get a defensive back, whatever
Mhm.
whatever one you want. So every spot there is, if you lose T.J. Edwards or Kazir White, you've got Nakobe Dean sitting there ready to go in the wings. You lose Fletcher Cox, you've got Jordan Davis. That
Yep.
comes the standard that Jeffrey Lurie has set, and the ability of Howie Roseman to have confidence that if he makes one mistake, my job's not over. My job's not getting cut because
Yeah.
I made one mistake. I have the leash from my owner, the vote of confidence that this is a project. This is not just a 1 year all in kind of deal.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's again the consistency that they're keeping at that in the front office is key as well. I mean, the fact that that Jeffrey actually allowed Howie to make do for his mistakes is huge. I mean, we were all calling for Howie to be fired after Doug and Carson left, but now like this was supposed to be a rebuilding project for the next couple of years. They're in the Super Bowl in year 2 of
Yeah.
this project with a backup quarterback who was supposed to be Taysom Hill 2.0 with a bunch of scrubs that everybody was considering that they're not good enough. Avonte Maddox at one point wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Darius Slay at one point was getting too old, and then Dallas Goedert was too unhealthy. He was too injured, and now these guys they all found their footing. And like I said, smart football going forward. The nucleus of this team is here to stay. Um, it's gonna be a good couple of years for Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's going to be a great couple years. And we haven't even talked about the offensive line. I mean,
Yeah,
you've got Kelsey, retires. You got your replacement. You got Landon Dickerson, who you draft to be a center. You don't need him. You slide him over. He becomes one of the best right guards in football, or left guards in football.
hmm
You've got backups if Lane Johnson goes down. You've got so much flexibility on this team. It's great. Now, I do want to ask you: are you concerned at all as this week goes on and we get closer to next week about Landon Dickerson or Lane Johnson? Obviously, they've been banged up and hurt. Lane Johnson, I don't know if there's anybody tougher in football playing with a torn freaking groin than Lane Johnson. But do these issues concern you even a little bit as we get set for Sunday next week?
Not at all, honestly. I mean, I feel like Landon Dickerson has been playing banged up for majority of his career so far in Philadelphia. But you said it right. They have depth. Like they have an Andre Dillard waiting in the wings. And they'll use him. Like I forgot what play it was. I think it was against the 49ers where they threw Mailata all the way to the right next to Lane Johnson for like a running play, or it was like a screen pass that failed. But still, like the creativity is there. They know what they're doing. And what I've been saying all season on Flipping the Birds was, one, if anybody's come to Philadelphia, nobody's beating Philly in the NFC, like point blank. And the second thing is, damn, I lost my train of thought.
Morning, it's Friday. We've been talking this for a full week now, and
Yeah,
kind of
at some point.
man.
But what I was gonna say is that they've treated this every game of the season as preseason. Like this is all the season to me was a preseason warm up for them. They need to figure out what they were gonna do in the playoffs and how they were gonna look in the playoffs. Come the playoff times, it was season time. Now you're in the Super Bowl and then they're treating like if they're just entering the playoffs. And it's like that mentality and that structure that they're using, whatever Sirianni is preaching within them that has not leaked out to us yet, is huge. Like it's really big, man.
Do you think, just hypothetically speaking, we win the Super Bowl? We're going to get into that topic in a second here. Just say we win. Do you think Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni will take 5 minutes and celebrate before they start working for next year's Super Bowl title already?
Listen, so in the NFC Championship, when the score was out of reach, I don't know if you caught the camera looking at Jalen with the first smirk that he's ever had in Philadelphia, and it was like to me like okay, cool, like this kid is actually human.
He actually has
Um,
personality and some excitement in
yeah,
there somehow.
exactly. But I don't know. I feel like Jalen just thinks the job is never done because I feel like Jalen lives on the edge. Like in Hurts' mind, after what happened in Alabama, he possibly feels like my job is always on the line, no matter
Mhm.
what. Every day, every second, I gotta watch my back. Because I mean, he went 26-2 in Alabama, and then he got benched at halftime in a championship game. Like that's a bit mind blowing. That's wild for Nick Saban and
I
them to
have
do.
that was the moment I became a Jalen Hurts fan. So when we drafted Jalen Hurts, I'm like, "Oh, this is great." Because
Mhm.
that moment right there, and then he goes on and plays really well at Oklahoma and whatnot. I'm like, "This guy, this is the real deal. This guy's got that it factor right there. If he can handle that kind of a situation right there."
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
When we drafted Jalen, I was huge on the comparison of Jalen and Randall Cunningham. Like he's
Okay.
had that kind of swagger to him. Like I wanted to see Jalen, but I didn't want to be patient with Jalen at the same time. Like I wanted, instant results. And I personally I had moments towards the end of last season where I was like, like this isn't the guy. Like let's just trade for Russell. Let's just trade for Deshaun. But a
Mhm.
year later, I'm eating crow. I'm happy about it. The swagger that he's bringing, the flair that he plays with. The guy's playing with a freaking sprained shoulder right now. And
Yeah.
whether people think that's not affecting him, I mean, look at the passes to AJ Brown. He's overthrowing AJ because I feel like he's trying to compensate for the power that he thinks he doesn't have.
Mhm.
But hey, like this is huge, man. Like, I'm excited to be an Eagles fan,
So
honestly.
you're excited, you're confident, you're whatever. I keep going back to this week. I haven't talked about it yet, but good things just don't always happen in Philadelphia. And we are all so overconfident right now. Like I feel like there's too much confidence from the fan base, the media, the content creators out there. Like we just all feel like we can't lose. That's because of what this coaching staff and this team has given us all year.
Mm.
But is there anything that maybe are we being a little too? It is Patrick Mahomes. It is Travis Kelsey. It is Andy Reid. You got three first ballot Hall of Famers right there that we're about to go face in the Super Bowl. Eh, Are we too overconfident at this point?
And not to sound too corny, I mean, yes, good things don't happen in Philadelphia, but great things actually do happen in Philadelphia. I mean, if you think about Phillies World Series, not too long, what was it last year, if I'm not mistaken?
This past year,
Um, yeah, Eagles Super Bowl 2017, the way it happened, now the way this season happened, it's just what Philadelphia actually brings, attracts to them, right? Um, but we shouldn't be overconfident, to be honest. But we should be pretty damn sure of ourselves, and I think what the Eagles are. They're pretty damn sure of who they are. They know who they are in the locker room, and we all, as a fan base, know who they are from top to bottom. Like everybody knows who Andre Chatre is, like practice squad guy. But yeah, we know who he is. Um, Everybody knows a Josh Joby. It's just I think for the first time in Eagles history, the fan base is emotionally invested in this team from top to bottom. Like we know the stories of almost every single player that was drafted to this team, signed to this team, or traded to this team. And it's kind of like we know what we're going to battle with. And that's the best way to go to war. Like you don't want to go to war with just two guns and without a game plan. No, you want to go to war knowing that your guys are more than capable of defeating the enemy. And while there is a Pat Mahomes, while there is a Travis Kelsey, there also is a Jordan, Javon Hargrave, a Jordan Davis. There's also a Josh Sweat, a Hassan Reddick. There's a Darius Slip, James Bradbury, a Chauncey Garner Johnson. Not all Hall of Famers, but still pretty damn good players.
yeah. I mean, the one thing I forget, which because I've had a lot of guests on the last week or so, somebody said something. I haven't stopped thinking about it. The Giants game, the 49ers game. Yeah, the national media might want to say, before the game that those teams are better, but then after the game, it's just Daniel Jones or you knocked out the quarterback, whatever it may be. All those always constant excuses. But winning those two games was basically reaffirming what we've seen and known all year long about this Eagles team. And that reaffirming line has really the last few days, I just can't get it out of my head because I think it's so true and so accurate that doesn't matter what the outside noise is saying. We're here for a reason. We were
Hmm.
15, 14-3 for a reason. We went through those two rounds of the playoffs easily for a reason, reaffirming exactly what we've seen all year.
Absolutely. And I think the concern was that we were reeling back at towards the end of the season, but a lot of guys were banged up. A lot of people, Jalen was out, Lane was out, so it was a lot of different looks for this team. But now, like this is what I mean. This is what we seen all season. We seen them beat the bricks off of almost every single opponent. Like this is not something new. We saw them go toe to toe with the Lions in Week 1, yeah, and not many people thought the Lions were good, but the Lions had one of the better offenses in the league. We saw them just blow out with Dallas and blow out the Giants, not once but but twice, and we seen them week after week just go in, grind, win, go in, grind, and win. And whether they won by 2, whenever they won by 3, they made sure that you felt like they were the superior team.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are the superior team. And yes, we are all overconfident, but like I said, they've reaffirmed why we're overconfident. Before I let you go, Bryan, I mean, you're obviously overconfident. You don't have to give predictions or anything like that. But you see this trending in the right direction for the Eagles to hoist their second Super Bowl trophy in 6 years, correct?
I
Can I
do,
assume
yeah.
that? Can I
I'm
assume that? And that's not
Yeah.
a homerish fan, prediction. That's the real deal, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm trending that way. I mean, I was talking to my sister last night. She was asking me if I'm going to the parade, and she didn't ask me if they win. She said, "Are you coming to the parade? To the Eagles parade?" And it's just like I'm already planning things, man. Like it's like I said, great things happen in Philadelphia. I'm just stoked, man. I don't even explain. Like I had at least 2 strokes and like 5 anxiety attacks during the NFC Championship. I mean, we were up by like 20 points.
Yeah.
So like this is not nostalgia. Like this is actually like something that is gonna happen. I feel like it just feels like
I'm gonna
inevitable.
give you a little story here to close this show and see if how am I going to react. So when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2018, there, I remember sitting on my chair. I watched it at home. I have a pizza shop, so I closed up
Mhm.
the pizza shop, came home to watch the game, and when that last Hail Mary from Tom Brady went up and it fell to the ground, and we won the Super Bowl, like I literally fell out of my seat on the ground. And my wife checked on me. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I think my heart just stopped for a second because I wasn't cheering like she thought I would." I'm
Mhm.
like, because in Philly, good things don't happen. It's always the negative.
Yeah.
I don't feel like when we win the Super Bowl next Sunday that I'm going to have that kind of reaction because I've been so confident on this team. This team has given me that swagger that it's actually going to be like, yeah, damn right, we won the Super Bowl. We deserve to win that Super Bowl.
It's
And
expected.
I'm not sure, like, if I'm going to have the same reaction or different reaction there.
Yeah. I think that my first reaction, it was in 2018 was I wasn't so emotional like I was in this NFC Championship game. Like I wasn't like it was shocking, but it's kind of like holy shit, like I was just
Yeah.
frozen. I grabbed my daughter, I started celebrating. It was just kind of like I was just frozen as to like I didn't know how to feel about it. But this one is kind of like I feel like this one's gonna be the one, like that people are gonna be like it's gonna be a different victory parade. It's gonna be a different parade down Broad Street. And like I said, I think it's the emotional investment that every single fan has in this team. We saw Jalen Hurts literally rise from the ashes. Like the kid was supposed to be a backup, supposed to be trade bait, and after we just signed our
Can you
franchise
imagine that?
quarterback,
He was supposed to be trade bait, and now he's leading us into the Super Bowl. I
it's
think that's great right there.
it's mind blowing. Like I said, like everybody's emotionally this team has been built throughout the last couple of seasons, right? Dallas got Monte Maddox, Marcus Epps, Josh Sweat. And then you got guys like like Hassan Reddick. Like the guy was supposed to be considered a bust after his third year in Arizona. Fourth year, 12 sacks. Goes to Carolina, 11 sacks. Comes to Philly, 16 sacks, and he's a monster. Like everybody's so invested into this team emotionally that it's gonna be. Oh God, the world might be coming to an end if they win.
All right, so Bryan Cameron, managing editor, Philadelphia Sports Network, Flipping the Birds podcast. I got to ask you, what's going on with Philadelphia Sports Network? Is Liam sending you as the lead Eagles guy down to the Super Bowl and paying for everything for you?
I would love that if he did. And if you're listening to this name, I feel like we have an idea now. We got to attack this idea as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But no, I'm actually staying low key for the Super Bowl. Just gonna watch it with my wife, my daughter, my father-in-law, and Philly Sports Network. We've done pretty damn well. I'm personally excited because all of our stuff has been coming out on the Metro Philly paper, day in and day out. And as far as flipping the birds.
I mean, how do you top having that? You had a Super Bowl appearing wide receiver on
Yeah.
your show this week. How do you top that next week as you get set?
I'm cooking. Let's just put it that way. I'm cooking something special for our Super Bowl preview, which I may be in contact with Phil about later on. But I'm cooking something together. Like everybody knows the big wigs in Philly, right? You know the Jimmy Kempskis. You know the Jeff McLeans, and everybody that sort. But I feel like the Philadelphia media is more so based out of the guys you stumble upon on YouTube, the guys you stumble upon on Eagles Twitter, the Liam Jenkins of the world, the Phils of the world, the El Paceros of the world. Like, these guys because
Mhm.
it's just like it's the best damn source of Philly that you can get. So I'm cooking something of an all-star cast for the next week or so. So
I like to hear that. A little tease there, right there.
yeah,
All right, everybody. So thank you very much for your time this morning.
I
Go,
appreciate it, man.
go finish your coffee or your mocktail or whatever it is you're drinking there. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the weekend. Go watch some dodgeball, some flag football, whatever it is the hell happening out there. Tyler Huntley, Pro Bowl quarterback. Go watch him win the MVP award of the Pro Bowl, whatever the hell that is. And next week, it's full speed ahead next week as we get set for Sunday.
Absolutely. And hey, Philly, don't forget to celebrate two things tomorrow, right? First thing, we won a Super Bowl on February 4th, 2018, right? And we're back in the Super Bowl. Second thing, February 4th, 1989, I was born, my birthday, Super Bowl. Love it.
Happy birthday. That's great.
Appreciate
I
that,
had
man.
you on the day for your birthday. Wow. 1989. Damn, you are so much younger than me, man.
Hey, don't say that. I feel old, man. Don't. You know what? Actually, let my wife hear that one.
You are so much older. Dude, every time, every person I have on this show, outside of Ed Kratz, no offense, Ed, you're everybody's younger than me that I have on this show.
Oh wait, hey man, so that makes you the OG, right? Like,
I guess.
yeah,
I don't know, man.
you're the
I just
original,
feel
man.
really old, man. But thank you very much, and happy birthday to you, my man.
Appreciate it,
Hopefully the
man.
wife takes care of you this weekend. You guys have a good time. Go out and have yourself a good time and all. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, and I'll definitely be in touch with you. All right.
All right, sounds good. And Liam, get him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, why not? Right? Look at his bald and beautiful face. Like, get me out there. I need some sun in my life.
All right, my man. Thank you very much.
Take it easy, Phil.
See ya. All right, that was Liam Jenkins, Bryan Cameron, Philadelphia Sports Network, Flippin' the Birds podcast. Again, like I said, kudos to him getting Zach Pascal on last night on his podcast. That's pretty big time right there. Getting a actual player from the Super Bowl team, on the show the week before the Super Bowl. But lots of great information there from Bryan. And real quick, we're gonna reset again. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. If you're just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, turn notifications on the YouTube page. That way you don't miss a second of the action here on the YouTube page. Drop your comments, thoughts, questions. I will catch them on replay. Even if you're watching this on replay, I will catch all questions, respond to them all. But lots of great content there from Bryan Cameron there. And, I think some of the stuff that we talked about there, especially from his Zach Pascal interview, is why, like we said, we're all feeling so confident as we get set. I mean, it's so great. Like last night, I didn't turn on any of the skills competitions. I think the quarterback skills competition was on last night. Which, on a side note, I was such a huge fan of back in the day, the quarterback challenge that they used to always have. Me and my brother, we had our own quarterback challenge, course set up in our yard, targets to throw to, everything. We had a blast with that. But then, Tyler Huntley, the backup quarterback of Baltimore, is playing in it. Geno Smith, and not taking anything away from Geno Smith's good year this year, but man, I think the luster of the Pro Bowl has worn off. And I don't care what they try to do, dodgeball, flag football, bringing in the Manning brothers, whatever it may be. I don't think there's a way to save it. You can't do away with it because obviously there's too much in these players' contracts for bonuses to do away with it totally. But honestly, I don't think there's any reason left to have these events. Unless the only reason why any players ever went to it was because it was a free trip to Hawaii. And if you're not going to do it in Hawaii every single year, nobody wants to go. Josh Allen backed out of the Pro Bowl because of his injury, but's playing in the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am this week. So he must not be that injured if he's playing 4 rounds of golf this weekend. But anyway, it's great that there's no Eagles in it because that means we're in the Super Bowl. And like I said, the confidence that Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen. We haven't heard anything about Shane Steichen this week. We had the video of Jonathan Gannon drop yesterday. We have all the Nick Sirianni free riding it, conversations this week. We haven't heard anything from Shane Steichen yet. It's time to get a soundbite drop from Shane Steichen today. Just another reason to get hyped and pumped. But this confidence we feel as we're we're what now, 8 days away from the Super Bowl? It's because of this culture that Nick Sirianni, in less than 2 full years, has been able to build in this city. Wait, go back and check out Flippin' the Birds. It's on the Philadelphia Sports Network on YouTube. And check out their interview with Pascal. And I mean, I think it was really, really interesting. They asked him, they're like, you signed here before A.J. Brown was brought to this city, before draft night, before that trade, that amazing Howie Roseman trade happened. And Zach Pascal probably expected to be the number 3 receiver on this team, have a role. I remember when we signed Zach Pascal talking on this show, whether he was going to be any good. Like, was he going to be an upgrade over Jalen Reagor or not? Like, we were trying to figure all that out. Like, we were talking, can he have 30 or 40 catches this year? Can he catch 700 yards or 3 or 4 touchdowns or whatever? And then draft night, A.J. Brown gets traded. Does Zach Pascal go cry a river? No. The system, the culture, the way this team is run, top to bottom. Zach Pascal's like, it's all about winning the Super Bowl, because that is what this coaching staff and this team is all about. It's not 53-man roster. It's one roster. It's not 53 individuals. It's one team. And Zach Pascal was able to instantly change his mental, preparing to be a number 3 receiver on a team. All of a sudden, you're the blocking wide receiver and special teams player. Didn't cry at all about it. And he said that. He's like, he said that in the interview. He's like, it didn't matter. Why wouldn't I want to play next to A.J. Brown? And that right there is the key of it all. It's that culture. It's that philosophy. He said this, he used the word multiple times. I wrote it down here. Unselfish. There's an unselfish nature about every single person on this team. And, he says, take pride in the blocking then. It's so important to have that. And we go back to 2017-18, and it was a magical run in 2008, 17-18 there. And it was great, but it was a totally different vibe and team. It was more of a, I don't want to take anything away from that win. Beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, the GOAT. I mean, excellent job. I don't want to take anything away, but it was more magical. And I don't want to use the word lucky, but every single thing had to go perfectly for that to happen. Going into Super Bowl Sunday, next week, 8 days from now, dude, if Jalen Hurts throws an interception and we're down 7-0 early, I'm not going to be in panic mode. Every single time that the Patriots scored in the last Super Bowl, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if we can come back from this. Do we have one more in? No, this year, even hell, put us down 14-0. Guess what? Yeah, there might be a little butterflies going on in my stomach, but I'm going to have the full confidence in this team to pull it out, because this is not a lucky run. This has been a day from day one, the start of the season, the start of training camp, start of Nick Sirianni's tenure in Philly, the building blocks, the planting the flowers and the roots growing from the beginning. This is a culmination of what Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Gannon have been building since day one of coming to Philadelphia. And because of that, it's going to culminate Super Bowl Sunday. And there's never going to be a doubt. We are overconfident as fans, as content creators. But it's not like blind loyalty that's making us confident. It's reaffirming what we've seen all year for 2 years, that this team deserves to be here. I don't care about the national media threads, the free riding Nick Sirianni, the Jerry Jones saying, well, we went all in, and then next year it's going to be a blow up. We're not the Rams. We got 5 first and second round picks over the next 2 years. That's not going all in. We're actually under the cap for next year right now. Yeah, we've got a lot of guys to re-sign, and that we're under the cap without any restructuring. And it seems like Howie Roseman restructures Lane Johnson's deal every single year. So I'm sure he'll do it again this year and save even more. There's so much that the offseason is the offseason, but we're not all in. So those outside noises, they don't matter. because I've watched all the games this year. You have watched all the games this year. We have seen every single snap, every practice, every interview, everything since day one of this season starting. And we have been reaffirmed time and time again that this team is legit, real, and it's not a fluke. This is a team that, I said it to Bryan there, will Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni celebrate for even 5 minutes before they start working on next year? And I truly, firmly believe that. And, great point bringing up, Jalen Hurts, where even if he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to feel the need to still validate that he is a starting quarterback, that he's still an elite quarterback. So as soon as the season's over, he's going to celebrate a little bit. They're going to have the victory parade, and then it's right back to work. He'll heal that shoulder up. But I guarantee 2 days after that victory parade, there's a video of Jalen Hurts squatting 600 pounds again. Because that's his makeup. That's his mental makeup there. I've said it before this year. Jalen Hurts won't be happy with 1 Super Bowl. He won't be happy with 2 Super Bowls. He won't be happy with 3 Super Bowls. He's going to want to repeat this every single year. And going forward, this team is, as long as Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are here, is going to have that same push every single year. Now, it's very hard to win multiple Super Bowls in a row, obviously, unless your name's Tom Brady. You're not even in it every single year. That's why you see the Bengals lose last year in the Super Bowl. They didn't make it this year. The Chiefs win one, then they miss one. It's hard. But this team is going to be fighting for the right to that Super Bowl every single year in and year out, as long as those 2 guys are at the top of this team. You lose Jason Kelce, say he retires at the end of the year, and now the news coming out that his wife's like 60 seconds away from giving birth. Just another great storyline, to throw in there on this Super Bowl. If the baby's born at the arena, do they name it like Vince Lombardi or something like that, or Jalen or Hurts? Is that what we can name the baby? I think Jason Kelce should let the fan base, pick his new baby's name if it's born at the Super Bowl. I really think that. I just can't. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to put that out on social media. Should Jason Kelce let the fan base pick his baby's name? Because that would be typical Jason Kelce right there for sure. All the storylines, it's great. But they're not going to be happy with just one. Keep going. Another. It all comes down to Nick Sirianni. It comes down from Howie Roseman. It comes down from, I hate using it before, but now I think it's perfectly okay to say this. It comes down from Jeffrey Lurie and the gold standard that he has built here in Philadelphia. I've said it 100 times this week. It is the premier organization in sports. Not in Philadelphia, not in football, in sports. It's probably one of the top 2 or 3 in all of sports because of everything, the culture, the community, what they build on a repetitive basis here. It's so enjoyable. It's so great. It's such an awesome feeling to have. But guys, I think I'm going to wrap up for the day right there. Not because I don't have more to talk about, just because I think this is a great point to just end and get set for the weekend on a positive note. I mean, we could talk the Sixers. They're in San Antonio tonight. Hopefully they get another win tonight. We could talk James Harden getting snubbed from the All-Star game. Sure. I don't care. I don't want to bring that negativity in here. We could talk so many different things for the next 10, 15 minutes. But I just want to end on such a positive note because next week it's full speed ahead. We're going to talk a little Sixers next week as the trade deadline comes up. I got Josh Reynolds, Liberty Ballers, coming on Monday. He's going to want to talk Eagles, and we're going to talk Eagles with him. We're also going to talk Sixers in the NBA trade deadline with him on Monday, 8:30 a.m. But it's full speed ahead with Eagles talk and the Super Bowl talk next week. X's and O's, all that kind of stuff next week. I mean, I said it yesterday. I've got this. My initial gut reaction was a 31-20 score. That's how my initial reaction was feeling about this game. I still feel it's going to be like that, a double digit. So I want to end with my confidence still sky high on this Eagles team. Next week, as we get the X's and O's, we'll see where I'm at. I did lock in Hassan Reddick, 35-1 MVP. Just like I said yesterday with Sean Brace, that it's a great value MVP bet. If you guys are in a betting state, Kyle, I know you're not, but if you're in a betting state, go drop a few bucks on Hassan Reddick to win the MVP. I think this is the year that the wide receiver quarterback MVP run ends with a defensive player. I think he will be the first defensive player since Von Miller to win an MVP in the Super Bowl. So go drop $5 on it. 35-1, you can't beat that. I did drop $2 on Bradbury and $2 on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, 250-1. But that's a long shot. Throw it out there, whatever. But guys, let's end on a positive note. Let's be confident. Let's have a great weekend. Let's not care about this Pro Bowl. I mean, literally, I did. I had SportsCenter on, and it transitioned into the quarterback challenge while I was at the pizza shop last night. I just, I see Tyler Huntley and Geno Smith throwing at targets. I'm like, I don't care to watch this. If it's not the elite of the elite, where was Joe Burrow? Where was Josh Allen? Where were all these guys? They're not in it. I don't care. Maybe they have to go back to having the Pro Bowl the week after the Super Bowl so that everybody could be participating. They got to go back to having it in Hawaii. I don't care. I'm over that, as is everybody else, and rightfully so. So we're ending positively here. This is Trending in the AM on DSM Media. Again, please like, subscribe, turn the notifications on so you don't miss anything on DSM Media at all. Thank you this week. I've had, between Jason and everybody at DSM that comes on the show, such a lineup of guests this past week or so. Liam Jenkins, Bryan Cameron, both from Philadelphia Sports Network, Ed Kratz, Sports Illustrated, Eagles reporter. Yesterday, Sean Brace, 102.5, The Gambler. Thank you to all of them for joining me this week. I greatly appreciate their time to contribute to this show. I said it yesterday on Twitter. I'll say it again. Yesterday I had a comment from a guy that popped up and watched the show for the first time. Really glad I found this podcast. Those kind of comments mean the world to me. So this is why I do it, for moments like this. Last year, I get my memories on Facebook of what I shared the show about last year. And this year, it's so much better. Being in the Super Bowl, the season's not over. So next week, full speed ahead on this show, on this channel, Trending in the AM, right here on DSM Media. Everybody have a great day and a great weekend, and go freaking Birds.